Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts DJ Daddy Vertec and Chippy Bree are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Golden Feather. We are here on the 24th of June, 2022 of all years, with episode number 127, Red Dead Creation, with Captain Redbeard the Third. How you be today?
Doing pretty good, Vertec. I appreciate the dwarven pirate intro, rather.
My pleasure. I do aim to please.
I love it.
We do need more beards in here. Jeez. I was trying to get Chibi to grow one, but it's a little bit, doesn't really seem to grow for her very well.
Perfect.
There you go.
Oh, that's amazing. Ooh. I'm sorry, my face is all blown out right now because it is super sunny right outside the window.
This is warm. I don't know how you do it. I've had it for like not even a minute, and it's too warm for me, so I'm rejecting.
Yeah. A lot of people say they don't want to grow a beard because it gets too hot or too itchy, but sometimes you just gotta man up and get through it. So
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chibi, man up, get through it.
Yeah,
come on,
man up, Chibi, grow that beard.
I mean, IRL, I have like maybe one chin hair. I could probably leave it.
So you'll probably get really crazy. Anyway, off of that subject. Outside of not being able to grow the chin hair, how are you doing today, Ms. Chibi?
I'm pretty good. As always, dealing with tech issues on the fly, like a champ, I think, because my mouse was like, I'm not working. And then something else on my computer was like, I'm not working. So I had to like restart it. But working through it.
That is the glory.
Indeed.
I might be able to. There we go.
We just need to get you remote control blinds.
There we go. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Have you seen those like auto tint windows? Like you press a button and like they like completely like shade out. Yeah.
No.
That's like super rich people stuff, but it's really cool.
It sounds
we have
really
those
cool,
at work.
though. Oh, really?
Yeah. When meetings that aren't supposed to have any information shared are happening, like all the conference rooms are all glass walled, but they hit that button and they turn black.
Yep.
Nice. Well, can I real quick? I want to introduce.
Do it.
Baba Yaga. It is Baba Yaga. Okay. I thought there was supposed to be like an A there, so I was like, I don't know. And AJ, Cheese, welcome in, you guys. And thank you for coming to find Captain Redbeard over here on our channel. So.
And there's a T-Elf, Theater Elf, and a Magisto, and an Umbra. Oh my gosh. The boogeyman.
And a Wizzy. Thank you so much, Wizzy, for the resub. Can you believe it's already been over a year? Oh my gosh. I really cannot.
Can never get enough Wizzy though, so come back more often.
I don't have the original name. It's all good.
You keep your sub, bring your face.
Nara also with the 1 year total. Thank you.
But,
well, you guys, I can't wait to show some of the stuff that Vertec and I are working with. Vertec, do you want to say who we're working with? Who was super sweet enough to come up forward and help us out?
Sure. Do we have said person in the chat here? Maybe.
I don't know. It's a great question. I actually never look at who's chatting because I don't want to pull out a lurker on accident.
But yeah, we had a friend jump in and say that they're going to give us a hand with some of the backlog of editing that we have.
Oh, yeah. There's that too.
Oh well, hey, what are you talking about?
I was talking about the thing that everybody gets to see when we're live. The background.
You can do it.
The background.
I'm gonna let you.
No, I don't want to do it.
Alright, so yeah, we're talking with I guess we could share who it is. We could share who it is, and maybe build some excitement. So yeah, we got somebody to agree to help out. We're going to be redoing, as you guys know, a lot of our visual setup on the show here, and you may have seen Supreme Phoenix on the forums created the 3D models for the portal and like the little snow globes. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up real quick here.
Yeah. If you guys don't remember, we showcased their art a few times actually. Every time they make something new, we always find it super nifty. And it was my understanding that they reached out to us and understood that we were wanting to redo things and offered their services. So Vertec and I are in the middle of planning and getting things together. I must apologize formally. I live on the internet now. So I just assume people are joking when they say certain things. And I have to admit that I'm very not intelligent with geography. So I didn't know there was a country called Georgia. So when Vertec said that they speak Georgian, I was thinking the state.
She thought I was talking about sweet tea and peaches.
So I thought that they were trying to make a joke saying that they speak their own language. Because I mean, I've heard it from other states. Like, oh yeah, I speak, I don't know, Arizonian or something. Californian is a thing because of the like hella this and hella that, you know. So they make these jokes, and I thought they were from Georgia, so I was like, oh, well, I only speak Common, so I will do my best to do a Georgian to Common translator, and I was trying to roll with it, and it's a country, that's a real language.
It's true. Believe it or not,
So,
it is indeed true. All right, let me see here.
Yeah, I hope I bought enough time for you.
Almost.
My embarrassing statement. But yeah, I'm very grateful to work with them and very excited to see what they come up with. And one of a friend that I wouldn't share that story too much. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Izzy.
I'm gonna share it everywhere.
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. So yeah, it's the person that made these on the forums.
There you go.
Like the little portals.
Arizona, it's hot outside. It's 113 degrees, right? Texan too, right? But yeah, don't those look really cool?
Wow. Let's see. And I'll share the link out too.
Yeah, the first time I saw that, I thought it was like an act, like something you would see in like a collector's edition of a game, right? Like an actual physical product that you would like get as part of the collector's edition.
That's what I said.
That's what we thought. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we saw it was actually I approached Phoenix because I knew we were looking for an artist to do some stuff. And I saw these on the forums again while I was looking through all the community creations, trying to look for the right art that we might want. And I saw these and said, how cool would it be if someone were to be able to create our tavern, but in a 3D type look? Give it a little bit more depth and texture. And so I reached out and I was like, hey, Phoenix, we like this stuff. Do you think you could do our tavern? And he actually got really excited about it and said, yeah, absolutely, let's do this, and just asked us for everything we'd want out of our design. So
can I tell them one thing that I like? It won't be revealing too much, but I thought it was a nice little touch. So we're wanting to redo the background, but Vertec mainly makes meat and I get to taste test it, and we wanted a sign by Vertec that said Vertex Needs. And because I want to do more of the healing stuff, I was thinking of doing something like Chibi's elixirs or something. So
yeah.
You mean you're tired of turkey cheese dribbling on your head? Yes, horrendous. Yes, I was hoping the sledge would keep me safe, but you know, I guess I'm not short enough for that.
Yeah, like these scenes are really cool too. The little caravans.
Yeah. Oh, it's so pretty. Sorry, didn't mean to take us on a whole tangent, but I wanted to say, like, things are happening. They're gonna take time because these things do. But we have a lot planned, and what's the famous word? Soon, TM.
Soon, TM.
We can say at least potentially like the latest end of this year.
Because we got some other stuff to go along with it.
We got to stretch. Ugh. Oh wow, my back just popped and all I did was stretch. But
it was a good stretch.
So, back to the important topic at hand.
Yes, back to the important stuff.
Who's this Captain Redbeard dude?
New World.
Let's talk New World.
Yes,
that is not where I was trying to take that.
Diablo Immortal. All right.
The first question is, how extinct is New World? Is it dead world,
very much
or is
so.
it just retired world?
I think the most recent numbers I saw, they were at like around 15,000 players, and that was from last week. They dropped like 10,000 over the course of a week, so maybe they had a bot ban or something like that. But yeah, they're sub 20K now.
Yes, we're going back to New World. No, we're not going back to New World.
And that's with half the studio keeping their computer logged in 24/7. Like, all right, let's keep this alive. I need a job. Okay.
You got the work PC, the home PC, the laptop.
Hey guys, I found a way to log in on your phone. Let's do it. There's 3 accounts. But on a less silly note, for those who do not know who you are somehow, have not seen the face, have not seen the name, who are you? What do you do? What brought you to Ashes, and what's keeping you here?
Oh, all right. The Redbeard origin story. So my mom and dad loved each other very much. And no, so I think we're coming up on 5 years now since the Kickstarter ended, right?
Nice.
So I had first heard about the game when a IRL buddy of mine came into work and was like, "Hey, you're a nerd. You like gaming stuff. Have you looked at this?" And was really excited about it, but I haven't really been the person to really back stuff, especially like before it's really even being developed. And so I waited, which, I'm shooting myself in the foot every single day, every single time I think about that, I could have like a lifetime subscription and all of this different stuff that I missed out on, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So ended up backing during the summer backer and upgraded to alpha during the PAX upgrade. Have done various testing, some I can talk about, other I can't talk about. I've done some spot testing with a guild that I was a part of back in the day that was kind of private spot testing stuff. So I've seen a lot of stuff that we've only heard about existing within the game. And there's a reason for that, because you try to do it and the entire server like falls apart. So, but that was obviously like, years ago at this point, but it was still fun. I've may or may not have seen Ranger in the game before. So I don't know how much testing you guys have done, but,
we try to get in, I think, at least once per test that they have.
At least.
But I mean, with us having our 9 to 5s, it's a little harder. That's why we're super looking forward to Alpha 2, though, because it's supposed to be a little bit more like constantly up. So when we do have the free time, we can actually get into it instead of it being like, hey, I know it's like 10 a.m. here, so it's 1 p.m. and you guys are probably in a meeting, but the server is up for like 3 hours. And I'm like, cool. I'll be getting off of work after that.
Yeah, I think with how much we put into work and such, it's easier to catalog our time sleeping.
Yeah.
We have a 2 to 9 sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Good 7 hours. 6 maybe, and counting time to fall asleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so I mean, just from there, I've been excited about Ashes since almost day one. It's been really exciting to see it continue to be successful throughout development. especially compared to other games that were popping up around the same time. Star Citizen, Crowfall, was it Elion? All the different games that have kind of fallen apart through development after being, kickstarted and whatnot. So it's nice to have the only horse I have ever backed looking like it's actually going to make it to the finish line. So, it's...
I'm right there with you. Actually, this is my first... I'm trying to do a high five. I don't know why I did this, but this is my first backer too. So... Absolutely. Yes. And I actually have a question for you after you get done chatting with us.
Yeah. So then just kind of, I've always been streaming off and on. I think I looked at it the other day. I think the first time I ever streamed was like back in like 2017 or something like that. So I've just kind of been always tool around on Twitch and whatnot. My channel is very much kind of built around the idea of like, old school LAN parties. Like I always just loved, grabbing the Xbox or grabbing the GameCube and heading over to a friend's house and, just getting them out and do live wire and just, game until 3-4 in the morning until whoever's, house we're at, the parents are yelling at us to go to bed. But just kind of that idea, like that's why I enjoy streaming, because I just enjoy having people to talk to and whatnot while gaming. So streaming kind of gives that avenue for that. And, do the Two Guys in a Bard podcast usually every Wednesday. Fane's on a little bit of a hot streak out in Vegas right now with the World Series of Poker stuff. So we haven't been on the last couple of weeks, but he's doing good out there, which is good. So good luck, Fane. And just excited about Ashes. Been following everything Ashes. I'm ready for some real Ashes content, which will be nice to have, but
coming very soon.
Just gotta wait. Yep.
And like Bochi says, one of the few that don't say the words lazy peon in the how did you find out about Ashes thing.
Yep.
There's not many.
No, I'm definitely thankful for the I guess the publicity that the studio got for because of the lazy peon video. It brought, a lot of not only just community people, but content creators. And I'm sure you guys remember the huge content creator surge that happened, right after the lazy peon video, and just seeing all these people come in and just be like excited about the game. It actually kind of reinvigorated myself a little bit because, people are in chats and just hanging out in chat and whatnot. And people are all like, oh, what's up with this? Like, what's going on with this? They're breaking down the wiki. And it's all information I've seen before, but it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be this and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. And it's like kind of discovering that best friend where you're all like, did we just become best friends? You're like, we have this in common. We're really excited about this. This is awesome. So it was good having him make that video.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you could, let's say, do it all again and you could back it now versus like, this is like your first time hearing it and you see all of the different packages before you. And let's say the other packages weren't off the table necessarily like Alpha 1, PI, etc. Which package would you back currently and why?
So it would be either PI or I forget the name of it, but all the way up to the launch party out in Vegas. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like,
I know there was Avatar of the Phoenix was the big one.
It might have been Avatar. I can't remember for sure. Especially at the time in my life, I might have had to take out a small loan to do it. But if it was what I knew now kind of a thing, then I would probably feel as though it was worth it. But
okay.
Yeah. If I had a lot of money to spare, I probably would jump on that Avatar of the Phoenix. But I don't have 10K to spare.
Yeah, that would be a hard one. Like, especially right now, like we're saving for a house, we're trying to buy land. Like, there's a lot of, so I say Avatar the Phoenix would be fun, but realistically, I'd probably buy it at PI, and that'd probably be my cap there. I would want to go higher, but that, money wise, that would probably be the most I could justify spending on a game that's not even out yet.
Yeah.
That's about exactly where my brain went. That's as far as I'm going right there. That's the one. I started off and went with the lifetime subscription. I said that's the minimum. Seriously, that's the bare minimum you should really do.
Yep.
I mean, I understand going less because you don't want to, put any serious money down on the game, but that's the least I personally said that I could reasonably do. That's the least, man.
Well, see about that, Vouchy. I wasn't his better half. I'm actually his better half because of Ashes. We met because of Ashes.
I actually didn't know that about you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah. Started off, we were all excited little newbies like you in the community and just talking about Ashes. And then, as the time goes on and there's like less and less content, we get less excited. But like it's always fun and refreshing for us to see the new people come in and get all excited. And then the chat pipes up with more people talking again. But back in 2017, when this was all super hyped because there's the Kickstarter going and all this other stuff. What? If we were getting called a newbie, yeah, newbie compared to us. We were here since 2017. Redbeard, what?
Well, you said you found out about it during the Kickstarter. You just didn't back, right?
Well, yeah, I did. Oh wait, sorry.
Oh,
I thought you were talking
was that to me?
I have no idea.
Yeah. That was to the beard. That was to the beard.
Okay. Yeah, no, I heard about it towards the end of Kickstarter and then decided to back it during Summer Backer.
Summer Backer, okay.
Yeah.
So you were at the same time frame as us. Sorry. By the way,
I don't care. Apparently, Baba is concerned about me being a noob. I don't care.
Just to preface, there are two major lazy peon videos. There's back in 2017, and then I think closer to 2020 when there was another influx of people. So I misunderstood because I thought you were talking about like not being able to back in 2017, but you had found it and then kind of forgotten. And then in like the newer 2020, that's when you joined. That was my bad. I'm sorry. But
you should be.
Yeah, I met Vertec back then. And basically we ended up in a small little group and I ended up running Pathfinder for a while. And then we just hung out a lot. And then next thing I know, I'm like, hey, I like you, but every time there's like an influx of people, we love seeing the, you don't have to make, I'm
Someone's
just getting flustered at this point. I'm just can I just go high?
I'm here. The trolls are gonna come out of the woodworks. Don't worry about Baba. Just call him a shitty ranger and move on.
Aren't they all though? Aren't they all?
Hey, you watch your mouth, sir. I'm a shitty ranger. All right.
Okay, so there's 2 out of 2. So far, yes, they all are. I don't know any other rangers, so
2 for 2.
We only know a bard. I mean, just
2.
saying.
Yeah. But
well, either ranger or tank is probably where I'm at, but
tank.
Gotta wait and see how stuff goes. Yeah.
Cleric for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about the cleric is like, because Ashes is kind of presented a very peculiar situation where just because somebody says cleric doesn't necessarily mean healer. I mean
healer, cleric prime.
Okay.
Because I mainly run heals in my MMORPGs. I enjoy it personally. It gives me anxiety attacks, but then that gives me this weird chaotic exhilaration high, like when you're on a roller coaster and you're just your emotions are going crazy. Yeah, that's me in a raid on a healer. And I'll get mad, but I'll enjoy it, but it just makes me want to try harder. I don't know how else to explain that. That's the weird exhilarating feel I get from it, I guess. But Vertec usually runs tank and I usually run heals. So I'm excited to try out all the different primary, secondary mixtures of healing. So.
Yep.
I got my pocket healer.
Yep, I was gonna say, you guys. It sounds like there was a little bit more than just, "Hey, I like you." It's, "Hey, you're a tank, I'm a healer." We kind of already,
Yeah,
we already work well together.
Match
we got half of our life, Matt. Yeah, exactly. Half our life matched up right there.
Hi, Grotag. Yeah,
Hey,
just
Grotag.
half of our gameplay together consists of me running around yelling "help" with Vertec coming to swap them off of me.
Unless you're talking about Alpha 1, where the tank was
useless and the cleric was the tank.
Yeah, exactly. Not able to keep threat and couldn't do jack for damage, so I was running around going, "Help! Kill this thing, please. Also, keep me alive. Thank you."
Yeah.
Yep, do everything. Do the DPS, do the healing, do the tanking.
Yeah, I'll do it all. Got it. Bagel, welcome in.
Basil.
That's 90% of your gameplay. Yes, I'm not alone.
The dirty clicker showed up.
Oh man, no, what are you talking about? Oh. He's our sunset clock, right?
The blanket clicker, the blanket wearing clicker.
Oh, Basil's a clicker. Oh my gosh.
He's not actually, but he did it like once on stream, and I haven't let him live it down.
Okay. That's forgivable on all accounts. That's forgivable.
The real troll was you all along.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. We have a lot to talk about, including pushback for a combat update. What?
Yeah, actually. That's a really good way to start this one off, because we could probably talk for a little while on that one alone.
Yeah.
So Redbeard, tell us, what are you excited about them revealing and or explaining and or showing a video of when it comes to combat? What are you hoping for? Wishing for? What's in your dreams?
So oddly enough, because of the way Steven has worded this update, this monthly update, and what we got in those Discord messages, that basically it's going to kind of be laid out where we're going to get a couple of combat updates. That way we can give feedback and they can iterate upon it, as time goes on. Outside of the actual seeing the combat, I would like to see a rough roadmap of what they're looking at. So for example, if the first thing that we see is, root versus free body, then, that they say, hey, this month we're going to talk about root versus free body. Next month, we're going to talk about VFX and just combat animations in general, both with VFX and without. And then third one, maybe kind of all of that combined and your, tab target side and then action side and then combined side. But just kind of see what that map looks like and kind of see where they're going with it. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if we just kind of get pieces thrown at us without the full context of it, it's very hard to give constructive feedback without context. Right. It's useful to get, very pinpointed feedback, but for me personally, giving feedback with the context of the entire situation is a little bit, I feel like I can give better feedback that way. So outside of the visual side of it, the main thing I'm hoping for is a little bit of a combat roadmap. And unfortunately, I don't think we will get it, but that's the feedback I always have for Intrepid is give us a roadmap. And I'm not talking release roadmap, but let us know kind of what's coming. Let us know what's expected. That way we can kind of, the content creators can kind of get their gears turning instead of just trying to create stuff out of thin air.
That will be such a relief.
Yeah, turning into storytellers instead of content creators. I mean, technically still creating content, but making it all up out of thin air.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like right now the hardest part even it was easier with Alpha 1 on, but the hardest thing without any of this stuff is not that it's really that bad for us, because we don't mind it. We love rummaging through what you guys are talking about in the community. It's just also there's not a whole lot of other stuff to just bring into conversation. But what I did notice, and maybe Vertec noticed this too, when there was content to talk about, the forums, the Reddit, everything was like a light with conversation around it. And so it's kind of cool because then you can grab different points of view from just the community on these things. And it gives us more of an insight on like what you guys are thinking. And of course, like other content creators like Mr. Super Redbeard over here. So,
Super Redbeard.
Super
Oh
Redbeard.
man, it's super now.
Yeah.
Well, and it's hard having. I mean, there's only so many different ways you can kind of have the same conversation, right? And you see that a lot with, especially on the YouTube content creation side. Like, you know, it's how many. You know, I'm not trying to knock anybody, but it's like how many different ways can I watch a video on the same piece of information that was released?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so, you know, sometimes it turns into, I'm going to turn this on, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to kind of tune it out because I want to support the person who's creating the content. But I've already heard this conversation 5 times now. So It's like, you know, how many different ways can the same thing be said? And then even from the theory crafting side, like it's very hard to theory craft without a baseline.
Yeah.
I mean, Baba Yaga would, I mean, he knows we had a huge theory crafting breakdown on the weather, and also it was the enchanting, like when they announced kind of the enchanting upgrades, and we kind of broke that down. And one of the things that I kept the chat limited to was we are creating the baseline rules and we have to stick with those, because if we don't stick, even if we have to theory craft the baseline, like if you don't have a baseline to build off of, then your theory crafting is just you randomly talking out the side of your mouth. Like it doesn't lead to anything productive. Like, and so that's going to be the best thing about Alpha 2, in my opinion, is content creators are going to have a baseline to talk about. It's how will these other systems affect X, Y, and Z, because, you know, A, B, and C already exist.
Mm-hmm.
So having that contextual conversation, I guess, is what it is that we're missing from Ashes of Creation at the moment. But
yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a shifting baseline, but it'll at least be a baseline that you can make a foundation of discussion upon.
Right.
Official baseline versus the one some random bearded dude made up online.
Sorry, I was trying to get back into the featured chat. It was being a little bit of a jerk to me. It wasn't loading the chat, but a few things I wanted to know. Somebody was saying, I'm trying to find their thing. I'm so sorry. Somebody was talking about wanting dual daggers. Being excited for dual daggers. Gruntag says excited for dual daggers.
Did you see the tweet response that the Ashes of Creation official Twitter responded to? I believe it was the Ashes Network guys.
No, actually.
They said we need more, or they said, you know, Steven, we need more leaks or something like that, and he replied back with 2 daggers. And then like a smiley face or something like that. So,
Ooh.
I mean, he had already said that in the original one, but it's basically,
I like
it's even more confirmed now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I could see that. I just imagine, I don't know. I figured they'd be super cheeky and respond with literal pictures of leaks.
Well, that was my first response, was when they tweeted that, I wanted to like go grab like a gif of a leaky faucet or something like that and just put that up.
I need some leaks, yeah.
More leaks More leaks it is.
Yep.
Indeed. But entertainment is always good, even when not founded. Yeah, and Narc does do really good stuff. But I mean, I guess the thing to preface is, you know, different content creators have different types of content that they're trying to do. Some content creators rely on gameplay to be able to do their content because that's the kind of content that they enjoy making. We rely on community conversation to make our content because we care about what you guys are talking about, and so on and so forth. I really do appreciate Narc's sense of humor in their videos, though, because it always adds like an interesting twist, and very good at the gotcha tags for the titles. I think I've been clickbaited a couple of times by Narc.
I like the straightforwardness of his stuff. Like he's it's kind of like the Asmongold take on stuff, right? Where it's like he's not trying to hide behind this like kind of, I mean, he is obviously kind of personifying himself, by his videos, but he's not like hiding behind this like, hey guys, welcome to my he's doing what he's doing, and he's being,
thanks for clicking my clickbait. You're here now so I can make up random stuff to pay my rent.
Pay my rent. Yeah, that's his big line in there. Copium, and you guys are here to pay my rent, kind of a thing. So but I like it. I like people who are straightforward about it, and if you can turn it around and even make that kind of bluntness entertaining, then good for you.
Which Snark does very well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But the combat, I'm kind of excited to see a lot of the updates that they have with the combat coming out. I'm of the opinion that I'm going to hold my thoughts and opinions until I see how the combat looks and feels. I did, however, see somebody on Reddit who they were trying to make their point, but I guess they did it kind of not in the best of ways, where like their point wasn't well received. But later when I was reading the comments, I kind of understood what they were trying to get at. Essentially, they had posted a bunch of videos and they were like, compare them essentially from like 2017 versus now. And the long story short was they really liked the initial videos where you're a lot closer, because this is very far, even in the screen up here. Is it me or is that paused? Okay, everybody else is moving. Okay. But okay, no, it's not paused. Anyway, the distance between the character and you, I think that's just to show off the area, the environment, but I think you can go way up close in terms of third person and be a lot closer to the character. But they liked the initial version where you were really close to everybody's favorite mage, and the combat to them seemed a lot better. So I understood where they're coming from, but it's kind of one of those things where I want to hold my judgment until I feel it myself and see it myself, because seeing it is one thing, feeling it is a whole other.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is how close you are to the character. That's gonna be more in control of the player at this point.
Yeah.
You zoom in all you want. Feel free. Go for it. Not me. I like to, in an MMO where there's a lot of stuff going on, especially with big old battles like that, I'd like to zoom out myself.
Yeah, but I understand where they're coming from. They're saying the closer to your character, the more immersive it kind of felt for them.
Yeah. Yeah, either give me a VR headset or I'd like to be a mile away in the air.
Yep.
I always did the max camera thing in WoW, like the little macro you had to hit to be able to zoom out like twice as far. Then again, that also comes from me being a tank. So being a tank and all you can see is boss feet and groin area, and that's your view of the world for half of a raid. Yeah, I'd like to zoom out of that, please. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, I think from raid leading and whatnot, I'm a high input gamer. I like a lot of information coming my way so I can make the best decision I possibly can in any given situation, whether I'm raid leading or not. And so I want to be, like you said, a mile off. I want to see everything that's going on. I want to, and WoW, I had all of the different add-ons and whatnot for raid leading, and even when I wasn't raid leading, tracking healer cooldowns, knowing what I could, get away with, trying to, if I saw somebody else messing up their mechanic, go try to, cover it for them, always try to play high mobility, high utility characters. Because like what you were talking about earlier with healing, I get the same satisfaction out of like a high utility class, where, being able to, whether or not anybody else notices it, saving a raid because you did something like that you weren't assigned to do, or you just because you noticed something and you kind of big brain it, you 5-head that situation. That's that's where that's where I get my rocks off when it comes to gaming.
Yeah, I agree. Hydrate, thank you. I actually need to go refill mine. I have very little in here. I didn't have time before the stream.
Thank you for that, Bochi. Actually really need it.
Thank you. I find it odd that most raid leaders tend to be a little short.
I'm
And
not short.
Actually, right? I mean, in comparison, let's just say that your background looks like it could be the back, like the headrest of a chair sitting up here. It does look like it could be like a big round headrest and like an adult's chair, and you're just like,
I'm just like sitting down here and like a
yeah.
I'm hanging out in my dad's chair.
Phaseling it.
Yeah,
I'm a sloucher. That's my problem.
Theater says tune wise. Short guys tune wise.
I mean, that's actually true. The most aggressive and like in your face and like loud raid leader I've ever had was he played a little mage.
I'm
like
just,
the littlest mage you could get.
My mind is just going with the handle it.
Handle it. Yeah, he was that kind of guy, but maybe not to that extreme like ragey. He would be laughing the entire time, like how could you possibly do that again? That's the 17th time tonight. You're gonna do something else. Like have you sit on the sideline. It'd probably do better for us. To stand over there, watch, and call out stuff. That's it. That's your job. Go sit down in the corner, right there.
Wizzy says bad combat could be overlooked if the housing decor is good. Change my mind.
You're wrong, Wizzy.
Just you're wrong.
You're wrong. I mean, Wizzy wants to make her interior design part of Ashes. So
Wizzy, we'll hire you to do the interior of the Golden Feather. It'll be fine.
On this episode of... What would you even call it? So it can't be cribs. What would it end up being? It can't be freehold because that's just too obvious. Taverns.
I think you do call it cribs. I think you just call it Intrepid Cribs or Ashes Cribs or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
And this old farmhouse. But Theodore was saying something about I think you'll be able to go over the shoulder with the cameras. That was I don't know if they're still doing that, but it was the angle of the action cam at one point. Was it would hang out like above your shoulder, like just off to the side a little bit and above. It would float around a lot more when you're turning. That was really cool. I'm not sure if they're still doing that though. And I'm not saying I doubt it. I'm just saying I literally can't recall if they're still doing it or not.
Yeah. Bachi says, you ain't wrong. We just we need others to like the combat to stay in game so we can show them our nice house. And then Wizzy says, I'll decorate the crap out of that tavern.
Do it.
So, very much looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, if the combat, I don't know. I think Jolan was the one that I heard talking about this, where like, if the combat is normal, it's normal. It's not good or bad. Like, it's okay, right? So like, bad combat, I could absolutely understand why people would leave because the combat is bad. If the combat is average, then okay, it's average, but the game has other things to make up for why you would want to play. But the combat is amazing, then that's just an addition as to like why you want to play. It's like, oh wow, this combat is amazing. And also all these other things. Because there's just so much, I think, that goes into everything with Ashes, the nodes, the weather. There's just so much that they're thinking of and that they're implementing that really changes, I think, gameplay in general and like how you view the game in general, because you are not only interacting with other players now, but also the environment and the ever-changing environment at that.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean my personal feeling, because I think I recall the Jalan discussion that you're talking about. I think I saw that one too. But I'd like to add on to it, like even story. Story is the same kind of thing though. Like, but with both of them, if the story is terrible or the combat is terrible, people are just gonna leave. Like really, because there's a certain number of people that are gonna play just for the combat stuff, but they're not gonna want to grind through terrible, like horrendous story. I mean that's the story of Elion right there. Everybody I knew that quit playing, they enjoyed the PvP and whatnot, but just the game itself felt blah, the story was blah, the environment was blah, and so they just ducked out. But you know, if the story is average, it becomes just background noise, and same thing with combat. If it's terrible, they're gonna leave. If it's average, it's gonna be background noise. Both of them, if they're great, they're not the reason you stay, but it's a big bonus to why you stay.
I'm putting together a poll, sorry.
Oh. The poll. Need to get hands on more of the class of the... Weapon specialization. Yeah, I'm really curious to know more about that, like exactly how that works, Gruntag. The weapon specialization.
More archetypes, yeah.
You know, and that's funny, because I was just watching a video. Oh, actually, you know what? Introduce the poll before I go on that.
Oh, okay. I'm just putting out a poll where I'm asking you guys how important combat is to you in terms of your gameplay. Is it integral to your gameplay, so it makes or breaks your game? Is it part of the choice where like, yeah, better combat on this kind of sways me? Or is it not really that important to you, and as long as you enjoy the rest of the game, the combat doesn't really matter? That's all I wanted to know.
I think as long as it's not on that bad side of the scale, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I have never once played a game because of combat. And I don't think I've really ever, but I have not played a game because the combat has been bad.
That's fair.
So it's never been the motivating factor, but it is something that would prevent me from playing a game.
I can relate to that in some manners, meaning like the type of combat was not my favorite. So I tend to stay away from first-person shooters, for example, because that type of combat is not my preferred type. Have I made the exception for some games? Absolutely. Like Tiny Tina's is a good example of that. Borderlands, very similar, right? But I wouldn't go playing COD just because I'm playing Tiny Tina's, for example. I tend to prefer the melee-ish thing, occasionally ranged, but I just enjoy the MMO combat system generally more than the first-person shooter type for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not really much one of a first-person shooter just because I'm bad at them, and I get my face blown off before I realize there's somebody else 5 miles away on the other side of the map throwing a knife at me. And like doing random weird trick shots, and here I am just trying to wander around like, let me go ahead and see if I can... Oh, dead. Alright, well I'll go around the other side of it, dead. Okay, well I'll go over that, dead. Okay, well I'll go under that, dead. I'm just gonna stand here, dead.
I'm gonna uninstall the game, dead.
Yeah, exactly.
I still get you.
Cannot uninstall, you've been shot. Oh man, come on.
Yeah, that was actually my early days of gaming. I did MLG competitive Call of Duty back in World at War, 1v1 duos. And actually my first, I am a late bloomer into the MMORPG genre. My first MMORPG was Star Wars: The Old Republic when it launched. So I don't have a lot of this. Like it's interesting. I want all of the things that I hear people like saying that they want. So like the things that I don't like in WoW, like Group Finder, like different stuff like that, has always existed, and so it's been my normal, right? So like when, you know, I hear a lot of people who will say, you know, I absolutely hate these mechanics. My side of it is I don't hate it, but I understand why it's not good for the community as a whole.
Yeah.
And for community interaction. and that's why I don't want it. And so it's interesting, like, I feel like I don't have as much of a dog in the fight because I don't have the old nostalgia feelings of like classic WoW and, you know, all of these old games that people played back when they were, you know, 8, 9, 10 years old. And because when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, I was yelling at people, you know, on Xbox Live and shooters. So, you know, it was a different path for me. But
so you were that guy. You were that guy that was 100%. Sniping me as soon as I'd walk around the building.
100%.
Like I don't even see so much as like a pixel of color of a person. And headshot. Oh God. Leave me alone.
Aww,
you start running around looking like a safety cone, just so I could be like, "Don't touch me! I'm the warning of danger. I'm not actually danger."
Nara says, "I'm weirdly nervous about next live stream if people will like it or dislike the combat."
Yeah, I think it's gonna be alright. Like Redbeard was saying, it's gonna be a phased intro of things, and they're asking for feedback every time. So
yeah, and Theater Elf says, "I'm more worried about the harsh death penalties," which, by the way, the poll ran, and it was split between it's part of the choice and it's not that important to them. So 4 people for it's part of it. 4 people for it's not that important. So yeah, it's kind of like the bottom 2 where I feel like I hate this term, but like the loud few are saying this is gonna make or break the game.
Yeah.
But I don't think, given your guys' response, I don't think so necessarily. I think it might matter to the hardcore PvPers maybe because they're the ones that are going to be focused on like combat constantly with that regard. But I think in terms of day-to-day PvE players and other things like that, we're gonna be fine. Yeah, near bad combat might, but they're saying if it's not like amazing, it's gonna break it kind of thing. Yeah, I'm just saying it's not black or white, right? We could have a potential of mediocre and then it get better. That's all I'm trying to say. You're a youngster.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it'll be all right. It may not be amazing combat, and I'm just saying that as a reality. Like, it may not be amazing combat by the time they're all done doing whatever they're gonna do, and then they have to go through and edit things and adjust stuff. And by then, is it even worth it? Just insert whatever the simple fix is to make it just be average and flatten it out there and leave it. Yeah.
Overthrow, I feel this so much right now. I'm sorry. Overthrow. I'm gonna pop this up on the. Yeah, go ahead.
If Ashes is functioning well, technically it will be a huge success, even if the other systems aren't mind-blowing. Yeah, basically. Just come out with the systems in target currently, make it work well, and that's all they got to do.
Wizzy says, "Give me Wildstar combat."
Yeah, to Wizzy, you think you do, but you don't.
But you don't.
Because they tried that, and the majority of the community was like, fuck this.
It's because they were freaking coward people. Everyone... Sorry, that's still like a trigger button for me. Their advertisement said, ratings for the hardcore. You gotta be serious, you gotta be strong, you gotta... Don't give up, you're gonna die a lot. And people are like, yes, I love it. They hit the first dungeon and they keep dying over and over, and they can't finish it in the first week, and they freak out because it's too hard. So they leave. One week? Really? Come on. How many times do you bounce your face off a raid boss? Like a month, and then you finally get it down.
I think it's actually a very small portion of the majority that actually does that. So one of the things that I had to kind of realize about the level of gameplay that I like to play at versus the vast majority is, even if I'm not pushing, because I've done the server first pushes in WoW, I have, and then from my definition of it, gone casual because I was no longer doing what I was doing before. But if anybody who is more casual on the community side were to look at, even how I played New World, which for me arguably was very casual. Though for the first week and a half, I only slept, at most 4 hours a night and, was grinding my ass off and, playing a ton. There's a huge majority of the community, and I think I realized this more with Ashes than I had ever realized with any other game before. There's a huge portion of the community that is very casual, like people that I don't play with. Because all the people that I surround myself with are usually guild mates and they're on the same level that I'm at or higher or just below and so I feel like, we kind of unintentionally bubble ourselves into a category where we think that, somebody who only plays 50 hours a week might be casual, when in reality casual is closer to like 10 to 20 hours a week. And that, if that 10 to 20 hour player were to look at a 50 hour person, they go, oh man, that person's hardcore. Whereas a 70 hour player looks at that hardcore, that 50 hour person's like, what are you doing? Like, no, you're not going to have a raid slot. You're not playing enough. Get out of here. Like,
and then looks at the 20 hour person like, do you even play the game?
Yeah. It's like, the game's been out for a year. You're not max level yet. Like, get out of my face. Stop talking to me. But just to say, I think that portion of the more hardcore side is definitely smaller. I think it might even seem a little bit bigger within Ashes right now. Because everybody can talk out of their ass without actually having to prove it. Yeah. Which is why I liked New World. Because, from a guild perspective, we were able to see who was actually, was able to do what they said that they were capable of doing. And some people lived up to the hype that they built for themselves and other people didn't. And it was an interesting experience. So it'll be interesting to see how kind of communities rebalance themselves after the game comes out, because defining yourself as hardcore, like, you see the guild recruitments and stuff, right? Like, hardcore Ashes, Ashes of Creation, guild, yada, yada, yada. And there's one guild that I know of that is hardcore, and that's Legacy. I know they've been able to prove that they're hardcore. Outside of that, every single guild is up in the air on whether or not they're going to be hardcore or not. Maybe Checkmate as well, but they're Legacy adjacent. So
yeah,
and that's the part that cracked me up with WildStar. Everyone, when they heard rating's going to be only for the hardcore, everything's going to be tough. And everyone cheered at it like that's going to be the greatest thing ever. And then they poof when it proves to actually be rating is only for the hardcore.
Well, that's that whole you think you do but you don't thing. Like I honestly think that even the people who were hardcore back in the day, I mean, we're in our 30s now. We got, families, jobs, all this different stuff, and we like the idea of being able to relive. It's like trying to chase that first high, right? I think it's one of the biggest fallacies with nostalgia in general is you're trying to, relive a scenario that you'll never be able to relive in your life again, especially because, I mean, even just the advancements of the internet, how information is shared, like the idea of discovering something new within a game nowadays it's so difficult. You have to be on the bleeding edge of the content to even see something new, because every time there's something new discovered, you get 20 guides about it within 30 minutes of it being found.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And yeah, Theater Elf, I'm basically the same. Like I'm not full tilt hardcore most of the time. I like just exploring the game and getting into stuff, but every once in a while I do really get that.
Wicca!
Like, I need to.
Hello.
Hey, Wixloth. Welcome. And thank you for the raid.
Thank you for the raid.
Solar Abyss and Mala Chaos Witch.
Hello. Pull out them pillows. We don't got pillows. All we have is mead. You can have our mead, please. Don't.
Speak for yourself. I got a pillow.
We just have mead to offer and Phoenix Downs, I guess. Show us your pillows. There's Vertex pillow. I don't have one. So
Yeah, 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 got pillows.
Hold on. I got one for Chibi right here. I got 2.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Mine is kind of stuck to my chair, so I can't take it off. There's one here, but I can't prove it.
I've used that line before.
Hands out the blanket. Goodness. Hello, Wicca. How are you doing?
Hold on. I actually got the best pillow right here. One sec.
Uh-oh. We're about to see the Redbeard pillow.
Oh, man.
The mega pillow.
I'm adding something really quick.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I love it.
I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that existed. And it's a thing, and it's big.
Yes.
Holy mackerel.
There you go.
I love it.
Was that at a carnival?
Can we make pillows with feathers? A feather pillow? Sure. We could do that, Lizzie. Doing great. Just came out of 10 hours. Was finally able to read you all. Oh, thank you, Vika.
Oof.
You're so sweet. What were you doing? I'm working on trying to get a shout out command going. So give me a second. But what were you streaming? That was a long time to stream. Baby Yoda. Yes. Big Baby Yoda. But we were just talking about the combat system and playing World of Warcraft, getting ready for the next pack. Nice. We were just talking about the different combat systems in the different games and how WildStar had a pretty good one, but it was also actually intense to play. I unfortunately only got a little tiny sliver of WildStar experience, so Vertex on that does more.
Really intense, like really intense. Like people were barely able to, after like 2 weeks, barely able to clear like the first dungeon, which is, to be fair, if you really think about it, that's kind of like every game when they first release their next expansion. For the first week, nobody's getting anything done because they have to go out and get to the new max level and get all the new gear and get up to a certain level before you can actually clear out the first dungeon.
Yeah.
But people just took it harder, I guess, because WildStar. I don't know. It makes me sad either way. But if anybody likes coding games, there's Nexus Forever. You can go there and get some salvaged source code, I guess, to host private servers. It's just going to require a lot of work to get it to an actual operational status.
Yeah.
Right now, you can kind of jump in the world and play around on a few of the areas, like the starting planets and stuff. You can go and play around on and do most of the stuff there, but that's about it. A lot of the other stuff, there's a lot of broken physics and a lot of broken skills and enemies and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they're reverse engineering a bunch of it, I think.
Yeah, I wish I was able to give WildStar a little bit more of my time. I think I was pretty deep into SWTOR around the time that came out, and so I was trying to play two MMOs at the same time, and the way that I game, that's not good.
Yeah, see, I ended up leaving SWTOR to go to WildStar because I was in a fan site and doing content creation for SWTOR during the beta periods and then up to launch, and it just didn't feel very satisfying after launch. Like, a lot of the stuff just wasn't really working well.
Yeah.
And by well, I just mean like the synergy behind systems and how they work together wasn't really there. There was no incentive to keep doing better. There was just incentive to play the story over and over. That was the only thing with real incentive to it. And doing dailies. Doing dailies had incentive. But to actually go out and accomplish anything was like, why do that? I can get the same rewards from doing dailies, but I can get them faster by doing dailies, so let's do that. But anywho, we're here for Ashes, right? Let's talk Ashes. Node types and their powers. There was a post somebody on Reddit was talking about node types and their powers. Specifically, the ones they mentioned were scientific and economic, and thinking that the scientific is kind of full tilt the best way to go for pretty much everybody, because as they see it, it gives you let's see, what did they list out as their important reasons here? Seem all too powerful and leave little room for any reason to use the other node types. They let you learn recipes for crafting endgame gear, let you craft those items only in those nodes. Those items can only be repaired in those nodes and are the only way to achieve mastery in a profession. Let players gain access to enchantment and enhancements, give access to many freehold cosmetics schematics, as the legendary, or as well as the legendary freehold schematic, and allow for the only form of fast travel at the Metropolis stage.
So we're talking scientific there, right?
Yeah. That's those are the reasons for saying that scientific is just far and above the best, and the only real thing to think about doing outside of, I guess they say economic is maybe a close second, is the vibe I'm getting from what they say.
I could see that.
How do you feel about that? I mean, I know we don't have a lot of information about most of the nodes, but do you really think that scientific, with just the benefits that they've put out there, do you think that that's going to be the example of the OP node, or do you think they're kind of just getting started with some of the stuff and maybe they need to ramp up time, or how do you feel about that?
That's for you first.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Sorry. We always try to direct a question over to the guest first.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. No, I mean, I based on your synopsis of it, I would say that that's probably a completely fair post. Even trying to work backwards from that, which I have tried to do in my head, and basically, how do we make sure that we are making all of the other nodes just as viable as a scientific node? And so working backwards from there, what needs to be done at the different nodes to make it viable, right? And I think the biggest issue that you run into in trying to even equate the other nodes to a scientific node is from the crafting side. And I think you hit a wall there every single time. Everything else, the fast travel, all of that can be balanced out, via another node having, other types of buffs going on with it, whether they be regional or within the node itself, or whatever kind of effect that exists there. For example, the catacombs within that was talked about as a potential from Steven. This isn't anything, this was just kind of off the top of his head idea that they were contemplating for the religious node. But to me, the main thing about the scientific node is the crafting. And in a game where crafting supposedly is going to matter for progression type content, whether it be PvP, PvE, any type of progression, even naval, because that's going to fall under crafting as well, that is going to be very hard to beat. And so as these other nodes are being created, I would not be surprised to see scientific node get knocked down a peg or two, because it absolutely has a lot going for it. And I think the strongest contender would be economic, because the argument there is if you have enough money, then you can just buy everything that the scientific node is making. But the reality is that only the biggest guilds and the most dedicated players are going to be able to have that kind of income to be able to afford those things. So
right.
From a general player standpoint, I all the way from a big guild to the most casual player, the way that we understand it right now, if you're not in a scientific node, what are you doing with your life? Yeah. And that doesn't feel good. That's not player agency.
Right.
That feels like it's on the rails. So
right. Before I talk, Abarat, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you.
And you're far too kind, friend. Far too
yes.
kind.
Thank you so much. And we really welcome everyone again to being I say again because I see some of you that were previously subbed. So welcome again to being residents of the tavern, and we appreciate your patronage Aberrat. I'm working on making the language that we use for these things a little bit more tavern themed, so bear with me while we figure it out. But yeah, no, honestly, I do see that. I see there is a lot of perks on a few things, especially with the scientific node. The nodes, there's some that are heavier towards just sounding like a better node to be a part of in general. So I wonder if that would be a little bit of a catalyst for a lot of the sieges. Like, hey, we accidentally got this node leveled up and it turned out to be this, but we want this other node to be the main node, not this node, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd seen, who was it? Overthrow say that, you know, Steven said they're hashing out a lot of the questions and stuff in design earlier this year. So maybe they're thinking about things like that. And Overthrow also says a scientific node might end up being top tier, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the Metropolis nodes would be scientific as well. Yeah. I guess it always depends. But yeah, exactly. You can always visit a node to get stuff done, but you can live anywhere. That's a good point, Horrendous. Go ahead, Vertec.
So I think they are all going to be a little bit on the balanced end of things, even with looking at those specific benefits of the scientific node. Because if you think about it, what every single one of those things, what do they really have in common, or what do they really get you? They get you the ability to make things, right? Like that's your power, and you have fast travel around your scientific node, or your scientific metro zone of influence. So that's a cool thing. But outside of the fast travel everywhere, everything else, if you're in an economic node, you're probably going to be able to have opportunities to make money far and beyond what somebody who could craft even the end game stuff could. Yeah. And so if you have, let's just say, a 10,000 gold item that you can craft, and you can make 10,000 gold from it and profit, or you're in an economic node and you get 10,000 gold, but you just have 10,000 gold, which is legitimately more worth your time. Yeah. If you have 10,000 gold in your hand already, or you have an item that you could sell for 10,000 gold. Could.
If you make it the currency is only as valuable as the products existing to be able to spend it on, right? Like, if everybody in the world was a millionaire and everything cost $1 billion, then being a millionaire has no value. And so the making sure that there is product available, it's a symbiotic relationship, right? Like, I see where you're coming from the standpoint of, you know, it's kind of the idea of $10 now versus $10 later. But I think that, I would like to see them split up the crafting benefit for each node. I think crafting is too big of a benefit to have tied to one node. So, for example, maybe the economic node has a buff to, or allows you the capability to learn more down the blacksmithing line or something like that. And the scientific node allows you to go down the alchemist line and the animal husbandry line a little bit more. That way it's not just, hey, if you're a crafter, you have to be a part of scientific. Because if you're PvP and that's your primary focus, any of the nodes kind of make sense. If you're PvE and that's your primary focus, any of the nodes kind of make sense. But right now it's very plain and clear that crafting's primary node is going to be scientific. Again, just as it sits right now. But yeah.
Yeah, and that's the tricky part, is right now it's really kind of in the air for what most of the nodes have, because I think we only have info for what the military, scientific, and economic, right?
Yeah, and
so we're still missing some node types.
Yeah, they missed a lot of the nodes. Like, I think they got 3 in, and then around then COVID was being a thing. So
yeah, I think even military, I think we only have like a little bit of info, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's basically that you can be a bounty hunter. But if you think about it, because the other direction I was going is, yeah, it's like you're saying, it's going to be a symbiotic relationship. It really is. But the angle I was looking at is the question or the statement of there not being other reasons to choose any other node type, because scientific just rules them all and there's no other reason to pick any other node. But there is, because you could have, you know, the ability to get a legendary armor pattern that you can make. Cool. Mm-hmm. You can make one item that can maybe make you a certain amount of money until the market gets flooded with them, and then that item is useless. Or you have the economic node that's going to constantly be generating you money, constantly have a ridiculous amount of taxes coming in to pay for really nice features, because where is somebody going to go to dump that really nice legendary item that they got the pattern for by living in a scientific node? Do you think they're going to go to a single node in their scientific zone of influence and sell it at a marketplace that will reach that node? Or will they go down the street to the entire zone of influence that marketplace auction house is going to reach in the economic node? They're going to go over there and sell it and pay the taxes into the giant zone of influences auction house, right? That way it hits much more people, much more easily, much more quickly, and it's going to have much more chance of a bidding war happening and paying more money for the product. And those taxes are going to go right in the coffers of the economic metropolis, who's then going to buy things that's going to make their people's lives easier, let's hope. Fingers crossed for them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's reasons. Whether it aligns with your personal goals is a different story. Because even in a military node, if you could be a bounty hunter, you could make your fortunes in adventure just by being a bounty hunter. If that's your full-time gig, you just run around looking for corrupted people, slay them, and grab whatever falls to the ground. Collect your reward for the bounty and move on about your day, collecting other bounties. Who knows how much stuff they have, because they just ran through an entire gathering area and lopped down 17 poor lobies that were just trying to pick carrots.
So Overthrow says, does this indicate that the scientific economic node pair will have tons of traffic? Stupid carrots.
Stupid carrots. Economic could obviously be jewelry and boats. Jewelry bedazzled boats. Nice, nice. I mean, to me, that would make sense. I would also see military and economic.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the bounty hunters, they're gonna have a lot of stuff fall into the ground by killing some corrupted people.
Right.
So, go to the marketplace. It's 7 nodes that way in the other zone of influence. And hit the marketplace and step away from it. You're done. The end.
Yeah. Now, I think scientific would also be important, because I believe that's the node where you can document the changes that you see going on in the world. You see something and then you can go and document it potentially. I can't remember at this point what has been said and what we had theory crafted previously, but
yeah, that was the it was like the college or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, there was some kind of like a center statue you could go to and like click on a book and record down the things that you found and whatever you've uncovered on the map.
Yeah. Overthrow, I agree. It is very hard to not get hyped to think about nodes, because this is a very new feature that we have not experienced in another game. And the fact that affects a zone area with a certain boon or buff, or honestly, when it comes to even the other node types like military and stuff, just gameplay and your choice of what the reigning node would be for that area, the metropolis node, you know. Ravon says, come here. Okay, go up there. Ravon says also that divine nodes will have an underground dungeon that connects to other nodes and its zone of influence. So meaning a log of PvE content can be available, and other resources might be rare to find in the wild itself. And I think that that's really cool because each one, they offer their own benefits and their own downfalls, but the downfall is maybe it's not super nifty and it doesn't have a central market system, but you have this rare thing that affects the rest of the gameplay in that area, and that's kind of cool. But yeah, I'm gonna hold on to that one, horrendous. But yeah, no, I think scientific, it's easy to talk about what we do know for certain, and we do know about scientific and economic, but we don't know what they're changing over time. And Overthrow says, I think Captain Redbeard is saying that the items and gear will take primacy in comparison. Primacy? I'm not sure what that word is. I'm sorry. That's a new one for me. Okay.
Yeah, that was basically kind of what I was saying there, is that it doesn't matter how much money you have, because if there's no product to spend that money on, that it just becomes an inflated currency that it's like, that's okay. Fair. I mean, you see it a lot in, for example, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Once they went free to play, someone like me, for example, who's had their account since the start of the game, I have a lot of old items in the game that I could sell on the market for literally 80 million credits. Like, yeah. It's one of the things that leads to inflation, everybody having that idea of, if you don't have, 1 million credits, then you're basically starting, that's basically the starting point. And so, but it works together, right? Like if all of the crafters don't have anybody to sell to, like that's an issue as well.
Right.
So, and that's why, I was explaining it, and then it said, well, it's going to be symbiotic. They're definitely going to work together with each other. And I mean, playing the economy in any game is always just a rat's nest of a topic, because what you do in the first week of a game versus what you do the first month of a game versus what you do a year after the game's been out. Like, playing the economy is so different, whether you're doing it via crafting, gathering, buying and selling. It is so as somebody who has done it in almost every single game that he's played, it is, I mean, it's basically like trying to play the market in real life. I mean, I feel like doing that in game gave me some skills to be able to do it with stocks IRL, right. Like being able to kind of see trends and different stuff like that. And bringing that back to Ashes, I think that, I mean, stuff like the weather system and the regionally locked resources, and, it's going to bring, I think, a whole, the scope of it is going to be so much bigger than what we've seen in other games before. And I think it's going to be very interesting. All of Ashes is just a giant social experiment to me. Like it's going to be so interesting to see how all of this plays out. I mean, we're going back to reputation mattering, that matters in the real world, especially, with like, cancel culture and stuff like that. Like that, right. The idea of like, your reputation matters, what you do in game matters, how you interact with other people. The work that you put out, whether that be a product within crafting, or if you're like a merc guild, like what Suspect is going for, how successful we are, how we conduct ourselves, on the business side. Like, the entire game is just a social experiment, and it's going to be really interesting to see people who are maybe a little bit disconnected from real world handle themselves in game.
Yeah. Good one, Basin.
By
the way, welcome in. I went to tag you, but your name wasn't popping up. So welcome into the tavern. Thank you for the follow.
Welcome.
But yeah, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I got distracted by that part. Ash's drama is going to be good stories. Yeah. I agree, Overthrow. No problem. I didn't even try to mess with the market. I'm going to need smart kids to market for me.
Yeah, I know. There was a buddy of mine that he's all about the economy. Like I think his Twitter handle is like Econ PvP or something like that.
Oh, I think I remember that person. Yep.
Yeah, he's always, whenever he starts on a new game, he just goes on about the economy and like how to market this and that and the other, and where does this piece actually fit in the world of things? Is it really important? Should I even be holding this or just get rid of it? And if I recall correctly, one of his strategies for early game is to just sell everything, because it's going to make you a giant amount of money for the people who are full tilt. I'm going to spend all the money to get all the things crafted. And then after you get up to max level, go back and farm some stuff, and then you have money that you wouldn't have had before to then go back and buy the stuff now that it's cheaper. And you now have access to the entire world, and you can start doing whatever crafting you want, but you've actually profited off of just leveling.
Yeah. Thank you, Bachi, for the stretch, by the way. Yeah, no, I agree. Also, sorry, I can't believe it's already 8:30.
My, how time flies when you're having fun.
We haven't really even talked about anything, I feel like.
Welcome to a Two Guys at a Bard podcast. Sorry, it must be me.
No, it's all good. It's just, honestly, I wish that we didn't have to cap out our podcast. I wish we could just sit here and chill and just chat for as long as we want. But, you know, the reality is there's people in other time zones, you know, for guests and stuff like that. So we can't necessarily just do that. But
I'm good. I got another 5 hours. Let's go.
Sometimes it's just so effortless, though, isn't it? Just talking about ashes. I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys think, chat? I'm going to make another... sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm going to make another poll. Should we do a surprise stream at some point where we get on in, like, I don't know, a Saturday afternoon and we just chat ashes with you guys? Is that something that you guys would like? Let me make a poll for that.
Chat ashes, maybe play some silly games or something. Just some time-killy fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Go for another hour. I wish I could, but unfortunately, dinner has not been made, and the longer we wait, the longer it's gonna take to actually make food.
Yeah.
What do you guys want? I'll whip it up real quick.
Whip it up real quick? Ooh.
Well, if you whip it up and bring it over, we'll give you some of our mead. Yeah.
Oh, that is a fair trade. I'll bring homemade bread, homemade pasta. I'll do everything from scratch. We're big. I'm a huge foodie. So
nice.
You bring your best. We'll break out our best.
Always do a post show hangry. I'm not hangry.
Actually, it's funny. We made a cherry and cinnamon mead. A melomel, if you want to be all about it. But some people are. It's not a mead, it's a melomel. It's half fruit. It's not half fruit, it's partial fruit, but either way. It's a cherry mead, and found out that it's very, very closely flavored to something that is like, I think it was like, what would they say, like $20-$30 for like a little 375 milliliter bottle. So I'm happy with that outcome. It's the expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Got 5 gallons of it sitting in here now. I'm gonna drink it.
Well, if you need help, let me know. We can Venmo, PayPal, whatever. Get a
swing on over. Swing on over.
All right, I'm
still looking into the whole how to mail stuff. So I'd love to mail some of the stuff to Intrepid as a holiday thing.
Yes.
Here, have some holiday mead.
I've been able to taste it. I mean, potato vodka.
Potato Pavadka.
Have you guys played It Takes Two?
I've never played It Takes Two. No.
As a game suggestion, it's only one of you need to buy it. That's all the other beauty of it, and I think it's actually on the summer sale right now.
Nice.
But that is a fun little kind of co-op game. One of you, I don't know if you guys have seen it before, but one of you has certain abilities, the other one has a completely different set of abilities, and you guys have to work together and communicate to like kind of get through the levels and whatnot. But it's a really fun game for co-op play. Yeah.
Nice.
I've heard some things about it. But yeah, I haven't gotten around to playing it.
Please share your pizza, and I will be putting some pineapple on top of it because I love pineapple. We have 100% for yes, more casual ashes, by the way. Currently, 6 votes.
Okay.
There's a poll going on up at the top of the chat. If you don't see it, refresh your screen. I'm sorry if there's an ad. We're trying to figure that out. Actually, since we're getting towards the wrap up, can I small kind of large announcement?
Depends on what it is, I suppose.
It has to do with the ads.
Oh yeah, I mean we're trying to source some stuff out for that, so.
Okay, so we are reaching out. By the way, Redbeard, you're on our list. Okay, we're reaching out to content creators who are doing Ashes content.
You're on the list.
We're wanting 30-second videos from you guys explaining what kind of content you make. And our thought was, for the people that don't have subscription to our podcast, we could do 2 to 3 minutes separated out throughout the podcast of a break real quick. And that will allow for like anything that you might need to do. Yell at your dog, adjust your chair, something. But then if you're not subscribed, you'll see whatever Twitch gives you. But if you are subscribed, you'll see Ashes specific adverts for other content creators. And that'll just give us a 1-minute break. But also we were thinking help break down the different parts of the podcast for editing for later to make it a little bit more clear and defined. But then also we were thinking that might be a nice little break for not having pre-roll ads on, because really dislike the pre-roll ads personally. We wanted to turn off pre-roll ads. You need to, I think, have at least 3 minutes of a ad in like an hour time frame ish. So we were thinking of doing something like that. And 100% yes, with 10 votes for more casual Ashes.
All right.
So occasionally on Saturday with a cozy Ashes chat. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So thank you guys for voting.
Yeah. So if you know anybody who does content creation, have them make a little commercial for us.
Yeah, talking about like what you do.
I would say we'd make it, but we can't really make that stuff.
No.
We would probably struggle to make one for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't even have a 30-second trailer for our channel at the moment.
Yeah, well, our YouTube is just whatever.
Yeah. Well, but we're working on it. What Vertec was saying earlier, what Vertec was saying earlier was that we have a friend of mine, Vinay Bunster, who has been working with us on getting us caught up to episode 100, and I think we're on 80 at the moment, so we're moving forward much faster than Vertic and I were able to go.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be caught up here sometime soon. I know I've said that before, but we have assistance now.
We actually have the help we needed.
Yeah. There's that.
Sorry.
There's that.
That was a lot of information really quickly. I'm sorry.
She's not sorry.
You're much nicer than I am. I'm like, listen, chat, you're here to watch me, so I'm gonna say whatever I'm gonna say. If you don't like it, you can go away.
But yeah, it takes two sounds fun.
Yeah, that'll be a thing we look into for sure. But on the topic of you saying things and them leaving, it is about time we wrap up.
It is.
So, Captain Redbeard III, what do you have to say for yourself, eh?
I mean, first of all, thanks for having me on. I try to catch you guys as often as I can, even if it's just to pull it up and throw it into lurk mode. But I mean, I love you guys have seen me. I love jumping in and throwing my 2 cents in. So it was great to be on the show. I appreciate you guys reaching out and having me on.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to catch me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday here on Twitch, 7 p.m. Central. Won't be streaming tonight because I decided to double dip and do it here. So yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, random games right now. Obviously a focus on MMORPGs and Ashes of Creation when we have content around that, but really only like diving into it when I feel like there's really something worth diving into with it that hasn't been talked about 50,000 times already. So
yeah.
A lot of Overwatch. Actually just started playing Vampire Survivors today, which has actually been a ton of fun. So I'll probably be streaming that tomorrow night. But yeah, just come by, hang out, call me a bald bearded bastard, and we'll hang out and troll each other and have a good time.
Sounds like a delightful time. Delightful time.
Indeed.
So we tossed out a couple of your channels there. Is there anything else you'd like to shout out about where people should go or you should pay attention to?
Ouch.
No, just hit me up on Twitch. I mean, you know the drill. Follow the socials, follow the Twitter, check out the YouTube. YouTube doesn't have anything really updated right now. Some of my old Pokemon content is on there and some Overwatch stuff, but it's all old and not up to date. So my YouTube game is weak. I'm a Twitch streamer. That's about it.
That's fair. I'm very weak when it comes to the YouTubes as well.
Yeah. Well, we can't all be great at everything.
No.
Gotta have some weaknesses, right?
Yeah, sorry. Do you guys like Warhammer 40k?
Have not played.
Have not played. Do you like roleplay and like backstories, character backstories?
Yes, as long as it is around the right IP. For example, I really want to do like a tabletop Star Wars kind of a D&D kind of a thing.
Okay.
But just regular D&D doesn't really excite me that much.
That's fair. So
some people are weird. You're one of them. It's fine.
Yeah.
We were thinking of raiding Cabal, and I think Cabal is doing a background currently under the ASMR tag stream, but a background of his Warhammer 40k character story kind of thing. I saw it briefly on Twitter. I'm trying to figure out what it was exactly that he had said.
Cabal on ASMR. That's something for some reason, it just sounds wrong. Like there's something broken in that statement. Cabal is fantastic, but...
Did you see my 2,000 point request? No, I did not. Guide the Raid. There was one. I did not see that. I am so sorry. Okay. Yeah, okay, so there's the thing, but you didn't say who? Massively overpowered. Oh, is that who you want us to raid? Okay, got it. I had seen you put massively overpowered. I thought you were saying something was massively overpowered. So the two are not together. I'm sorry. But yes, they are playing Adventure Quest 3D.
What is that? I mean,
I have no idea.
Adventure Quest. I didn't know there was an Adventure Quest 3D.
No clue. No, it's all good. We already got it queued up. Thank you for pointing that out because I totally did not see it at all. So yeah, Cabal is fantastic, Lizzie. But sorry for the mix-up. We're gonna go raid Massively Overpowered, which I think could probably really use the additional love from the Ashes community anyway, because Cabal is a bit bigger than we are. So I just wanted to raid him since he's not usually live when we're live. He's usually live a bit earlier in the day. So new people, however, take priority. And this is a new person. So Vertec with the endy things.
Yeah. Well, everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Super, super, super happy and thankful for you stopping by. Even the super crazy people that are throwing like a bunch of subs out, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. The drive-by subbing, it's fantastic. And Redbeard, thank you, friend, for stopping by. Great conversation. You guys could have been doing anything at all, even getting yourself overpowered to a massive degree. Instead, you're gonna hang out with us until we go and raid them instead. But hey, we appreciate your conversation.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, I was trying to get to their page first. Oh, there we go.
Did you get there?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm watching a pizza ad at the moment, which you guys are just making me really hungry for pizza now at this point with talking about pizza in the chat and then now this. There we go. Oh, that's really cool. Graphic wise, it looks kind of close to almost like World of Warcraft-ish. It's really cute, actually. But yeah, enjoy. I think we will say Ash's Golden Feather Love or something. Ash's Love, either or. See you guys over there.
Catch you folks next time.